Yeah, well, all I guess I'm getting ready to, what I wanted to do is to explain how to develop or create the physical activity plan. And this will be using ChooseMyPlate.gov again. For this, I'll be showing you the screen here where you go to actually ChooseMyPlate.gov. I do understand they did change kind of their format of their Choose My Plate website, but still it has the same information. So if you go here and you go to the search tab and search physical activity, it will take you straight to the physical activity tab. It's a little bit different than what we have on the instructional video, so I'll show you here. Click on the physical activity tab, that first one here. It'll have basically the questions that you're asking for to complete your case study and to be able to put in not only a physical activity plan, but also to give recommendations on why we're actually doing a specific activity. So go to this first part. What is physical activity? And this will give you the CBC recommendation or the definition of what physical activity is and what kind of activities are meet the recommendations of what is considered to be physical activity for the day to meet those guidelines. And so it's giving you what kind of movements they are, the type of activity. Sedentary activity is not considered to be part of physical activity requirements for the day or for the guidelines. So it has to be moderate physical activity to vigorous, moderate to intense activity, or what we call vigorous activity. So the moderate activity, for example, would be walking briskly. That's 3.5 miles per hour. So if you're on a treadmill, you want to set it to 3.5 miles per hour or more to be considered to be part of physical activity. Remember, each setting needs to be at least 10 minutes per setting or per set of activity. And so this would be walking briskly 3.5 miles per hour is considered to be moderate activity, whereas 5 miles per hour is considered to be vigorous activity or intense. Same thing for example, for example, tennis. Tennis would be in doubles is moderate activity, whereas tennis in singles is intense activity. Swimming, also, so if it was water aerobics, that will be moderate activity. Swimming freestyle laps, for example, is considered to be intense. And just these are examples of what would be considered or count towards moderate to intense activity. So anything below that would not meet up to the requirement of being physically active or meeting the recommendations of that activity per day. Right, go back to the physical activity. The second will be, why is physical activity important? Basically, when you're explaining to somebody to be physically active, that's somewhat sedentary or doesn't have that much of physical activity, you want to explain to them, why am I doing this? For a lot of people, it might not be something that they're used to, something that might not be fun for them, something that's not considered to be a priority at the time for them. So we want to explain to them, why does this need to be a priority? Why is it so important? And try to tie it into that individual and that individual's lifestyle, and that individual's educational level, that individual's income and socioeconomic status, their physical status as well. I can't tell somebody to do a specific activity if they're unable to do it. And so, but still they need to be active. And so we need to be able to make recommendations at an individual, unique level, basically tailoring not only our meal plans, but also we're tailoring our physical activity for a specific individual. And so that's what we're doing here. And so for this, why is it so important? Why is it important? Being physically active can help you feel better about yourself, sleep well at night, which we know the importance of sleeping and our resting metabolism, and how important that is for our body to basically housekeep and clean up and get ready for the next day. So if you don't sleep well, we won't be ready for the next day. Basically, our internals or our body won't be able to function properly for the next day. Increasing the chance of living longer and a better quality of life as well is very important. So these are just a list of kind of how you will set up of why he needs to be active, tie it into your plan, but also obviously don't copy and paste. Put it in your own words. This is really giving you an idea, but then you need to have your resources in your own resources or citations, peer-reviewed articles, something that will give you more information of this, but you can put it in the form of bullet points. When you're not physically active, you are more likely to get heart disease or increase your risk of heart disease, especially that in our case study, this individual has higher risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, higher blood pressure, and how these, and if you want to go a little bit more in depth, explain how to increase your risk of heart disease. And on the other side, how can being physically active reduce your risk of developing heart disease? Or if you already have some kind of a heart disease, how can actually prevent from kind of negative side effects of heart disease or type 2 diabetes or high cholesterol, or your risk of developing a stroke? How can physical activity be beneficial as opposed to saying, if you're not, you can say, if you're not physically active, this can happen. But what if you are, and what are the benefits? So basically, they're also saying here of what are some of the benefits of being active. Also, there are activities that you need to include not only as part of your plan on the daily in terms of kind of calculating your time, where it needs to be 150 minutes or more per week. But still, within that, that's not within tied within time is muscle strengthening and bone strengthening activities. So when you put in your time for that week of activities, underneath it, you need to include at least two sittings or two times a week of muscle strengthening / bone strengthening activities per week. And so here are some examples of what the muscle strengthening activities are. They can be, or basically here they're not in the examples, but later on they'll show you push-ups, sit-ups, and things like that. Bone strengthening activities and how important they are, balance and stretching, and how important that is, especially within certain ages. And then here, how much physical activity is needed. Now that you've explained what physical activity is, the importance of it, and the benefits of it, how much do I need? So here you can be specific to a specific age range or age within certain ages and how much activity is required, type of activity that is actually required. So within 18 to 64 years of age, we need to have at least 2.5 hours per week of aerobic activity, of moderate activity, or it can be an hour and 15 minutes of intense activity, so vigorous activity. We need to include at least muscle strengthening activities 2 times a week, things like push-ups, sit-ups, lifting weights, all right? And then, so those are the things that we need to include within your activity plan as well, right? Also, I'll go back, how many calories does physical activity burn? So this is looking at moderate activity. If you are doing hiking for an hour, you can burn around 370 calories. If you're doing half of that time, basically you'll burn half amount of those calories. And this is in regards to moderate activity. If it's vigorous, basically if you're doing an hour of vigorous activity, it's almost going to be double the amount of calories, and it kind of makes sense. And half of that amount will be half as well. So it's giving the different activities here as well. And then tips for increasing your physical activity. So for increasing your physical activity, what do I need to do? So we want people to be physically active all the time, but things happen. We either get sick, we're not able to do the amount of activity for in college. We maybe have a little bit more free time, as opposed to if somebody would have multiple jobs, or if somebody would have children to take care of, or somebody to take care of. For whatever reason it may be, we need to be able to meet our requirements. But what are some tasks that we can do, or some kind of activities that we can do to kind of manipulate our lifestyle but still meet the recommendations of physical activity? And here it is giving you some examples of living a normal lifestyle with including physical activity within it. So with cleaning your house or wash your car, thank goodness that kind of ties into part of our activities per day. Pushing the baby in a stroller, kind of walking briskly with pushing a baby in a stroller. As you're pushing your baby, you can also walk briskly or jog or run with them. Walking the dog, and this is basically not just watching the dog walk, but it's really walking with the dog, running with the dog, things like that. You can do things at work. These are examples of what you can do at work. You can join either teams or groups, or your peers with you, or your colleagues at your work, and kind of figure out a time during a break, or every 10 minutes, 10 minutes within every 3 hours, to take a walk around the building, something like that. Maybe park a little bit farther or a little bit farther than your building, so that way you have to walk to and back to your car, to your building, back to your car. With playing, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be enjoying what you're doing with those activities. These are some activities and some enjoyable activities you can do, maybe on a weekend or on some kind of a free day. As you are doing that as well, again, make sure that you're including at least 150 minutes. So you're doing maybe 10 minutes or say 20 minutes of walking briskly every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So those are 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. Those are 60 minutes of walking briskly. You still needs to add up to at least 150 minutes. So you can do 10 minutes of, jogging, or you can do 10 minutes of tennis. Whatever you want to add up to those times. You can put some. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be consecutive days. It can be every other day, for example. You can put more activities in the weekend and a little bit during the weekday, depending on that. But then underneath it, you're going to have to include muscle strengthening activities / bone activities at least 2 times a week. Or no, every sitting has to be, or those activities need to be, say 10 reps at the very beginning, and then we increase it. So part of your long-term goals will be to start out with activities that will be 150 minutes a week, increase it gradually to 300 minutes a week, because within 150 minutes a week is when we are maintaining our health status. We're maintaining our weight. We're not increasing anymore. We are maintaining our glucose levels and hypertension. But then when we start to increase it to 300 minutes a week is when we start to see the change. We start to see decrease in body weight. We start to see decrease in glucose levels. We start to see decrease in blood pressure levels. So we're no longer maintaining. We're actually making benefit or making good of the activity and getting all the benefits from being physically active. But obviously, if this person is sedentary, we want to gradually bring it into their lifestyle gradually, so that not only can we make time for it and it becomes part of your lifestyle, but it also gives you, it gets your body ready for being active. It's a lot of stress that's going to be put on the body. So that's how you kind of put a physical activity plan together. 1 week is enough. Just do Monday to Sunday. Again, it doesn't need to be after every day, as long as it adds up to 150 minutes a day. Hope this helps in how to develop a physical activity plan. And we'll meet again.